Fani Willis's lover, Nathan Wade, is now facing contempt proceedings in his divorce. And this one's curious because remember Fani Willis started to insert herself into their divorce proceedings saying, wait a minute, Jocelyn Wade, who wanted access to billing records and other materials in the divorce from Nathan, Fani said that she was interfering with her prosecution of Trump and basically threatening her with criminal charges if she continued. And so something very strange happened. Jocelyn, Nathan's ex-wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, they were still married while they were cavorting around with each other, Fani and Nathan. She submitted a demand for Fani to come and testify. And then Fani did not want to do that. So lo and behold, there was an agreement that was entered and we didn't have that hearing take place. The subpoena to Fani went away because Nathan agreed to do a bunch of stuff. But now Nathan is not doing the stuff that he agreed to do. And so Jocelyn's attorney submitted this response and an application for a citation of contempt. The case is Fani Willis's former, maybe current lover, Nathan Wade, filing for divorce against Jocelyn Wade, submitted in the Cobb County Superior Court in Georgia. You see that Nathan Wade is now in some hot water. Soon to be ex-wife, if the divorce goes through, is now applying to hold Nathan Wade in contempt because he made an agreement and that closed out the divorce. They created temporary orders and he's not abiding by them, which is strange because he's a lawyer and he knows how this stuff works, but he continually apparently violates court orders in his divorce because this is the second kerfuffle he's gotten into with this court. So here is what his ex-wife is submitting, saying on January 30th, when we were watching Fani maybe have to come and testify in this proceeding, this honorable court entered a consent temporary order, right, to put the divorce on hold, create some terms about how this is going to work, and then Fani didn't have to come and testify. So Wade agreed to do this to prevent that from happening. The court reviewed the temporary agreement. It was approved by the court. The parties agreed that this agreement would not be filed with the court unless there was an enforcement issue, right? So Nathan promised, yes, I'll do all the things you want me to do. Just don't make my Fani come in here and testify. The temporary agreement states that the following about Jocelyn's healthcare expenses, okay? So ex-wife Jocelyn been put through the ringer on this thing. He agreed to do this. Okay, Nathan Wade said, sure, temporary agreement, I'll do it. You got it. Says Nathan Wade will pay all uncovered medical expenses for Jocelyn apart from any elective cosmetic procedures until further order of the court. Now, remember when we were here, I remember specifically, we were wondering, wow, this case settled very quickly. Like we thought this was going to be a brutal divorce and then it got settled like immediately. We're like, holy moly, that was fast. How did that happen so fast? Well, it's because Nathan Wade said, I'll do whatever you want. Like anything you want, I'll give you the kids, you want my kidneys, whatever. Because he was not going to have Fani come testify. Like that was ground zero. So he says, sure, whatever. Uncovered medical expenses, sure, no problem. So plaintiff Nathan will pay for routine dental and vision care with a cap of those $500 per year. Defendant Jocelyn will forward invoices to Nathan, who will pay the same amount to the medical provider directly and make arrangements with the provider. Okay, so she doesn't even want to be the middleman. She's not like, hey, I need $2,000. And he's like, well, for what? She's like, here's my bill. Just pay the bill. Fine. She doesn't want a windfall. If Jocelyn's provider requires immediate payment at the time of service, Nathan Wade will be notified by Jocelyn and Wade shall arrange for a payment of that amount to the provider and Wade will be provided receipts by Jocelyn if they're not sent by the provider. So it's all going to be cataloged. Now, you notice how Nathan Wade knows how to do this stuff, apparently. Like he agreed to this. So he knows what receipts are and he knows how to track payments. He's agreeing to this. So he could have done that with Fani, but he didn't. So here it says Wade shall file claims with the insurance company. Jocelyn shall file claims with the insurance company. And if any money comes back and is reimbursed, they'll go back to Nathan Wade. Saying, here's the problem, okay? So Nathan is just abandoning her. Says, Jocelyn urgently requires medical procedures, namely an endoscopy, a colonoscopy, and an ultrasound. She's got severe physical symptoms she has been enduring, the mother of his kids. These symptoms have significantly impacted her ability to even consume most foods, leading to substantial weight loss, notwithstanding her already slender stature when in better health. Upon information and belief, her condition is worsening, and delaying these diagnostic procedures may necessitate emergency intervention unnecessarily, and that can be very expensive. Now, Jocelyn has notified Wade of the urgent necessity for these medical procedures and the need for prepayment in the amount of $4,400. She has communicated that the medical facility will not even schedule these vital tests until Nathan Wade prepays the co-payments to the healthcare provider. Now, despite a direct request from Jocelyn to Wade for a prepayment and an additional demand from the lawyers from Jocelyn, says plaintiff has Wade failed and neglected to fulfill his obligations. He's not paying the bill. Instead, Wade has instructed Jocelyn to make the payment yourself. He says, why don't you go make the payment? I'll reimburse you. And there are emails back and forth saying, here you go, I'll reimburse you. Now, that's not acceptable. That's not what the order says. Ironically, Jocelyn finds herself unable to fulfill this obligation, despite not being legally obligated to do so. Why? Because of Nathan. On the day immediately following the entry of the order on January 30th, Nathan Wade informed the party's daughter, an upperclassman in college with hopes of entering medical school in the near future, that he would discontinue payment of her rent and living expenses, instructing her, go get the money from your mother. Sheesh. This dude's brutal. Okay, so Nathan Wade, he gets the contract, remember, from Fani Willis on November 1st, 2021, divorces her the next day. Then this temporary order comes in on January 30th. This dude is still the special counsel, okay? So he has not been thrown off the case yet. He's still getting a bunch of money from Fani. He's still billing. What is he billing? $250 an hour, 24 hours a day, all the time. So he gets this order and he's just very upset about it. So now he saved Fani, right? Fani's not going to have to come testify. So now he's going to punish the daughter. She wants to go to medical school. She gets a phone call from dad. She's in college. You're on your own. Good luck. I'm not paying your rent anymore. I'm not paying for your living expenses. Sayonara, sweetheart. So he just drops his kids like a bag of dirt, and he drops the RICO case and Fani like a bag of dirt. This dude's a piece of work, isn't he? It is noteworthy, and he's got plenty of money, okay? He just made $700 grand over the last 2 years sleeping with his boss, okay? Didn't do any work. He billed a bunch of work, but they were on cruises like 4 cruises in 6 months, whatever the numbers were. Go get the money from your mother. Man, it's noteworthy that the daughter's rent was due that very day, so she's like hung out to dry, demonstrating Jocelyn's unwavering commitment to her children's education. Guess what? Mom covered the daughter's rent payment, says, I'll help you, honey, and has continued to do so every month with the money that she gets in spousal support that was awarded to her under temporary orders. So Nathan says, I'm paying your mom, get it from her. As an additional note, Nathan Wade has very punitively reneged on his commitment to cover their daughter's MCAT expenses as well. Man, that's not going to be good. That daughter, man, I hope when Nathan needs something from daughter, you know, daughter remembers that. MCAT expenses. This guy's something, man. What a piece of garbage. So the party's son is currently in Europe too. What's he going to abandon him? Go get a job at a dishwasher. Find your way home. You're not coming home. I'm not paying for your flight. The party's son is currently in Europe pursuing a career as a professional soccer player. Now, despite Nathan Wade executing a verified affidavit to the country of Spain, affirming financial responsibility for his son's expenses for visa purposes, he's like, sure, son, I got you covered. You're not going to be a dead weight on Spain, so I'll sign that for you. He called his son afterwards. Son's in Europe kicking the soccer ball around. Like, yeah, we're going to, you know, hey. Subsequently informs his son shortly after the temporary order was entered. He says, hey, son, guess what? I'm no longer providing support for you either, or your sister. So why don't you go get the money from your mother if you love her so much? In response, Jocelyn, unwilling to leave their son abandoned in a foreign country without support behind Spain lines, has again been covering all his expenses and the associated costs for the visa application process with the money she's receiving in spousal support as well. Cut off. So Wade's sudden cessation of support for their children has placed Jocelyn in a dire financial situation. She has less monthly income, less than $1,000 a month, right? And she can't work currently. She's got poor health. And as a consequence, she finds herself in a worse financial position than she was prior to the entry of the consent order. Now, Jocelyn acknowledges that this court doesn't have jurisdiction over the expenses of the young adult children. They're adult, you know, but she provides this information to the court to illustrate the pressing need for this application so that we can address this. Please put this on the next available calendar, as Jocelyn doesn't have the money to cover these procedures. And lastly, pursuant to this consent order, Nathan Wade was supposed to pay a total amount of $15,000 to Frazier Dieter, the firm employing Jocelyn's expert, right? Remember we said, Nathan said, whatever you want, I'll give to you. And we're like, wow, like he bent over whatever. And that's exactly what happened. So Nathan said, they went to him, they said, and you got to pay for our expert that had to go investigate you. He says, fine, how much is the bill? They say $15,000. He goes, oh gosh, okay, fine. So Nathan Wade personally provided a cashier's check made payable to Frazier Dieter in the amount of $15,000. FedEx lost the package. Oh no. So gave the lawyer cashier's check to this attorney, and this attorney sent it in by FedEx. FedEx lost the package. Don't want to lose that one. $15,000 cashier's check. So counsel then asked Nathan Wade's counsel, says, can you please address that with your bank? Go get a new check. We need to get it cut out again. Upon information and belief, Nathan Wade had one contact with the bank who wrote a letter that said after they did a deep dive, it would be 90 days until they can reissue the check. Oh. Defendant seeks a court order requiring plaintiff to go get that new check. We're not waiting 90 days. Saying plaintiff's multiple willful failures to comply with the terms of the temporary order and the agreement, it constitutes contempt of court. I get, like, who cares? They don't care. They're untouchable. Who cares? Maybe Nathan Wade is a little bit more exposed now because he's not on Fani's team anymore. But, you know, he lied to a judge right to his face. He lied multiple times. What does he care? Defendants incurred attorney's fees and expenses of litigation due to plaintiff's actions are also entitled to be compensated. And due to the worsening nature of our client's health, we also request that Nathan Wade responds within 5 days. We ask, make him respond in 5 days, put this on the court's first available calendar date, issue a citation of contempt against Nathan Wade, and find his conduct to be in willful violation of our temporary order him to pay $4,400 for the medical bills, get that money from that cashier's check from the bank, and give us attorney's fees for having to file this in the first place. Signed by, I believe this is Scorpion Queen Andrea D. Hastings in the Nathan Wade divorce proceeding. And so here are some exhibits. Joyce sent this one. Says, hello, Nathan, cheating piece of garbage. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow at 3:30. Not sure if I will need to pay when I arrive or not. If I do, how would you like me to contact you to settle the bill? Joyce. He says, in the future, Nathan Wade at lawyer.com. In the future, please give me notice. I have work schedule to keep and can't just suddenly stop to accommodate without notice. I will make reasonable efforts to be available if they reach out via phone around that time. So don't tell me the day before. Says, okay, today's visit, I do not owe any money. My doctor's requesting that I have an endoscopy, a colonoscopy, an ultrasound, an allergy test. Per the plan that I have, nothing's covered. I cannot even schedule the procedures without the fees being paid. Total cost of just the endoscopy and the colonoscopy is $3,800. The allergies $300, ultrasounds $300. Please let me know how to proceed. If you would like to speak with them, I'll provide a number to call. He says, okay, I think the simplest thing to do is for you to just pay it, get your treatment done. I can reimburse you. She says, no. So Andrea, lawyer, gets involved. Okay, so Joyce sends that over to attorney, says, this isn't gonna work. Attorney steps in, emails the lawyer for Wade, says, hey, Scott, please see the email exchange below. As you know, Mr. Wade is required by the consent agreement to pay these bills. We forward them to him, he pays them. Mr. Wade is refusing to do so despite the clear language. We would appreciate it if you would rectify this by the close of business today so that we don't file a motion for contempt against him. Thanks. Let me know. And then, of course, that didn't happen. So this is where we're at now. Here is his letter for his son. Says, hey, this form is to certify. He sent this to Spain. He sent this from his law firm letterhead too, right? Like, hey, I'm a lawyer, you know, in America, so we have money. The form is to certify that I, Nathan Wade, will support my son while he's living in Spain. I'm a licensed attorney in good standing, not for long. I currently practice law. I'm able to financially support my son. No, you're not. You lied on this. I understand that these funds must be available for the entire length of his stay in Madrid, Spain. I certify this is true and accurate. If you have questions, let me know. Nathan Wade. Dude also revoked this. I understand. Man, Fani should charge this dude for fraud. This is a false document. He's attesting to a false document. There are 19 co-defendants that are charged with similar crimes. Falsification of alternate electors. I understand these must be available. He just revoked it. Maybe he should be indicted for this. And of course, there's the bank stuff. So that's Nathan Wade. What a piece of garbage, huh? So he not only divorces his wife one day after he gets the political appointment from Fani Willis, but then as soon as he has to be on the hook to pay some of his ex-wife, who is the mother of his kids, pay some medical bills, which he agreed to, clearly explicitly in writing, revokes that. And then because he's so bitter and angry, he cuts out his own kids, calls his daughter, you're on your own. Good luck with medical school. What do I care? Sorry, son. Better learn some Spanish over there. Hasta la vista, amigo. Adios to you. And we'll be hopeful that the Jocelyn family and those two kids figure it out with their useless loser father. But hopefully they're better off. They are better off with him out of there. So we'll be here continuing to cover this disgusting behavior in Fulton County. And we hope that you join us as we do. Thank you for subscribing wherever it is as you're watching this, we're covering not only the Fulton County saga, but all the rest of the Trump litigation out there, what's happening in New York. The trial is starting very soon. We'll be covering it. Hopefully you join us as we do. We also have watcherlodge.com, our sovereignty and self-development community, where we're streaming on Saturday for Sovereignty Saturdays. We'd love to see you come join us anywhere else, right back here on the next one.